Hi, I'm Nathan Perez, and welcome to video 3. In video 1, I talked about the importance and reluctance around networking. In video 2, I covered each step of the 20-minute networking meeting. In this video, you'll see a mock 20-minute networking meeting in its entirety. Just for a little bit of background, it features Taos, a soon-to-be MBA grad, networking with an executive who, played by me, created a career path that Taos is interested in. Now, it's important that I say that as this video is only 10 minutes long, it's a truncated version of an actual meeting. The good news is, as we state in the book a handful of times, no one meeting must last exactly 20 minutes. In some cases, they'll be longer, in some cases, they'll be shorter. But without a doubt, watching the following will give you a really good sense on how fluid and effective such a meeting can be. Enjoy! Hi, are you Taos?
Yes, Nathan.
I'm Nathan. Yeah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Come on and have a seat.
Thank you so much. I really love this neighborhood. There's a restaurant down the street, the Wayland, Nordic inspired. Do you know it?
Yeah, it's like right around this corner. Maybe it has like a red awning on the top.
Yeah, it's right next to the grocery store. Organic ingredients, locally sourced.
Oh, I didn't know it was locally sourced. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really. My colleague just introduced it to me like a month ago. I walk by it all the time, but I hadn't been in there.
Oh, well, thank you so much for sitting down with me. I want to be sensitive to your schedule, so I only take about 20 minutes of your time to ask you about 3 questions as they relate to my career development.
Oh, sure. Okay. Are you looking for a job?
Yes, but I'm not asking for one.
Okay.
It's more about research to inform my career path and goals. Which reminds me, Abigail Smalls, who introduced us, she asked me to say hi.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Abby and I worked together like a long time ago. I haven't seen her. How's she doing?
She's great. You worked at the Green Initiative together, right?
That's right.
She's been a mentor to me, and she mentioned that that's where the two of you got your start.
Yeah.
And she also thought that your career path is similar to the one I'm on, and that you would be the perfect person for me to connect with.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But before we get into that, I'd love to give you just a 60-second snapshot of my background for some context, if that would be okay?
Yeah, actually, that would be great.
Okay. So I earned my BSBA from the Andice School of Business in Kentucky. And 3 of the 4 years I had paid internships. And the third year, my third internship, it was at the Mill Foods plant across the river in New Albany, Indiana.
Yeah.
And I assisted Chris Souza, who's the general manager there, in readying the plant for sale to a holding company, which is also how I ended up getting to Minneapolis.
I see. Okay.
So from that experience, I suspected that I'd really like to be in management in a corporate environment, but I asked Chris his opinion, and he connected me to Abby. So we had a video meeting, and then a temporary position opened up in her division. So she sent me the link, and I applied 2 interviews, and I landed the role.
And you got the job. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great.
So the year before I started my MBA, I was able to manage 3 junior interns.
Oh, wow. That's quite a lot of experience. So how'd it go?
I loved it. Now I'm 100% sure that I want to be a people leader in a busy operations group.
Great.
Which brings me to the present, 2 years later, and my first question.
Okay.
So your LinkedIn profile mentions that you worked in marketing after receiving your MBA.
Yeah.
And then you had a few other experiences before becoming the general manager of a small foods group.
Yeah.
So I'm curious as to what your path was like that led you here.
Right. You mean like maybe like steps that I took?
Sure. Were there more choices, or was it by promotion?
Well, I guess it was a little bit of both. There are a few different paths that you can take to get to a general manager position. The more traditional ones are going to be sales, marketing, maybe finance. There's actually quite a few different ways to get there, but I think the most important thing to do is gain an expertise in all of those areas. Your role as a general manager is to oversee day-to-day operations, essentially the entire organization. So, yeah.
How did you transition into having experience in all those different areas?
Oh, wow. Well, that goes back to the initiative. At that time, this is going back, let's see if I can remember. At that time, the marketing division worked really closely with the sales division, and there was an opportunity that popped up. I applied for it. I kind of like jumped all over it. After that, though, I think I sort of realized that these things don't really kind of fall into your lap, and then I tried to create opportunities for myself. I went out and I started meeting a whole bunch of people, both internally and externally. And as they got an understanding of my background, they got a better idea of how I fit into things, and then I got a lot more traction that way.
Okay, I see. That makes sense. So I should really learn how to articulate my background well.
Oh, yes, no question about it. Have you ever, it's kind of like you ever heard that you should kind of have a different resume for each thing that you apply for? And it's sort of tailored for each one of those experiences. The idea is the same. You want to be able to talk about your background in a way that allows them to kind of put the pieces together that, in a way that they're not able to do just by looking at your resume.
Okay, thank you. That's very helpful. Did you find that also helped with your networking as well?
Oh, no question about it. It definitely helped with the interviewing, but if I hadn't been doing it with my networking, I don't think I'd actually be here talking to you.
Okay. Well, that leads me to my third question, which is, what is the skill that makes you so good at your work?
Well, I think it's a skill that all really good leaders have, and that's the ability to make relationships. I have a really good business acumen. I have a lot of experience, but to be honest with you, if you don't have really healthy working relationships with your colleagues, there's not as much value to your expertise.
Anything else besides relationships?
Well, I mentioned technical skills. That's going to be important. But I think what all really good leaders share is their knowledge. They're constantly absorbing more and constantly educating themselves and staying on top of trends and technology and leadership development and what have you. And especially in a role like a general manager position or in operations, there's so much to keep track of. So educating yourself, informing yourself.
Thank you. That's great. That's really all I have for now. Just, do you know anyone who might be a finance professional in foods that I could talk to?
Right. You mean kind of according to what your career path, like
Exactly.
what you're doing now? Yeah, actually, two people. First person is Jenny Trexler. Second person is a gentleman by the name of Sam Graber. But you know what? I don't have any of that information with me right now. But if you follow up with me after this, then I can send it to you. Would that work?
Perfect.
Cool. But can I maybe give you an idea who else to network with besides people in your chosen area?
Of course.
Really consider networking with your peer group. I think I sort of made that mistake coming out of my MBA program, and I was a little hyper-focused on meeting with executives and all the people that I thought were going to be the best contacts and the more important people, and I did myself a disservice by not networking with people who were just ahead of me and getting an idea of what it was all about. Does that make sense?
Sure, so you mean like other grads?
Yeah, other grads, other people who were maybe just 2 years ahead of you. They got 2 years ahead of you in the experience to give you an idea of what it looks like.
That makes sense. So someone who recently graduated would have more relevant experience for me than someone who's experienced professional and hasn't had to go through a job search in some time.
Right. The times are changing. It's different now than it would have looked like then, and it's going to be like that going forward. And asking your contemporaries and the people who are in your peer group, it'll give you that kind of insight. Networking with executives and experienced professionals like me will definitely give you career insight, but your peer group will give you the job search insight.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I want to be sensitive to your time.
Sure.
So just one last thing. Is there anything I can do to help you?
Oh, I kind of wasn't expecting that question. I can't think of anything at the moment, but I would love to stay in touch.
Absolutely, that would be great.
Okay.
I'd like to show my gratitude for you having taken the time to meet with me. This is an article written by Johnston Brown, who is VP of Marketing at Vivitech.
Yeah.
He's been one of my mentors in my MBA program. It's an article about the importance of relationships in the workplace. And if there's any overlapping interest, I'd be happy to connect the two of you.
I would love that. Thank you.
Wonderful. So I'll send you a follow-up email to get Jenny and Sam's information.
Great.
And at the same time, I'll send an introductory email to you and Johnston.
That's perfect. Thank you very much. And please stay in touch if I can answer any questions. Just send me an email and we'll get on the phone.
Wonderful.
That sound good?
Thank you so much, Nathan. This has been so helpful, and I feel like I'm going to have a lot more confidence in what I'm doing.
I'm glad to know that. Please stay in touch. Let me know what's going on. If you have any questions, just let me know.
Okay, wonderful. Have a great
Thanks.
rest of your week.
You too. Did you get an idea of how a 20-minute networking meeting is run? If you've already read the book, hopefully you can now see how simple and straightforward a networking meeting can be. If you haven't read the book, it's a quick read, not to mention chock full of real-world scenarios, short stories, meeting examples, and dozens of tips and observations from students, hiring authorities, and recruiting experts to make your own 20-minute networking meeting smooth and easy. As we wind things down, I'd like to offer you a closing thought. Remember that people and relationship building are the very foundation of networking. And try to remember that reciprocity is key to building trust with others. Always try to give, and always try to give back. It's what's going to make others remember you fondly and think of you professionally. I'm Nathan Perez. I wish you well in your career and the best of luck in your networking.